But it's important because it brings everybody together. It shows unity. It gets all the, sometimes at the end of a difficult primary, there can be a little bit of contentiousness between some of the volunteers in these different campaigns. And it's important to get together and bring everybody together and show that we're all Republicans and we all have one goal in mind.
Right.
Well, that county unity breakfast that we went to in Plymouth shortly after our primary was an excellent opportunity for me to keep meeting other Republicans that I know have been helpful during this most recent campaign, just like the Norfolk County Republican Committee.
That's right.
Rich Peeler and yourself.
Yeah.
I reached out to you as part of the county, as part of the state committee person, and the attitude and the answer back was, what can we do to help?
That's right.
So David, you
That's
bring up
amazing.
something that's really important, I think, as a candidate. You have continued to reach out and network, and you built another team, you ran another race, and you drew a whole lot more people on board, and you continued on.
Well, some of the earliest people in this discussion were from towns at the far ends of the congressional district, never mind in my own little district of Fall River and Assonet.
Right.
We had Larry Spizzato from Bellingham.
Yes.
I received a call from Beth, my opponent in the Republican primary
She
this
lives in
morning, wishing me well. She sent me down a call at the very beginning, trying to help out. Lisa Barstow, her campaign manager, was in our office making phone calls. Didn't you go out door knocking with Lisa?
Yes, I went with Lisa.
And Lisa
door
comes
knocking.
from Brookline.
Yes, she
That's
does.
right.
And think about the magnitude of your resources when you can do that, reach out to other people in other counties and towns to help make, and that's what we're going to need if we're going to start to have the kind of success we need in these areas, in these races.
Keep doing this, keep doing what we're doing, and get better.
And keep putting good people like this on. They're thin because they have boundless energy. Look at them, they need to eat. I want to give you both a cheeseburger.
Yeah. Your young peer, should I call him that, Horace?
Yes, you
Horace.
went with him yesterday
Yes.
in the car.
He was impressive, and I really wish we had a lot more young people like that, because that's what we need to fill our ranks to keep it going. Do you know what I mean?
It is.
Well, I was that young once, and I was in the ranks,
You
so.
still
right.
are, stop it.
It is important, though. One of the things, I mean, as state committee people, we all try to reach out to different groups within our districts, but one of the things I've tried to do is reach out to the Bridgewater State group, and we've been lucky enough to start a good, active Republican club
Awesome.
at Bridgewater State
Yes.
University, and that's what we need to do. We need to get people involved when they're young,
And grow
them
up
and get them
into it.
involved in the campaign.
The way that-
You just moved to North Attleboro, and the
Yes.
North Attleboro High School has a
Oh,
Republican club.
They do.
So, and those kids they're not even eligible to vote yet, and they're active at North Attleboro High School, so.
That's right.
Yes.
Yes.
Can I tell you a cute little story from last night? The mayoral primary was taking place in Fall River last night as well. The mayor, I consider him a friend. He's a Democrat. He has a great following down in Fall River, Mayor Flanagan. Actually, a couple of people with his T-shirt on came up to me at the end of our gathering last night.
I saw that.
And it was
I saw
a young
them come
boy
in.
about 13 years old, identified himself as Colin. And he's actually the nephew of the mayor in Fall River, came up to me and said, I wanted you to win. And he said, I told him, I said, well, I want to stay in touch with you so we can get you into the Young Republicans, and he was thrilled. That's what he said. I want to be a part of it. I want to help. That kind of attitude is exactly what our success, building this camaraderie, is going to start to develop.
So are we going to see a Republican group in Fall River, do you think?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Oh, they have a city committee, don't they?
No, they
No,
don't.
they
They actually
don't.
did. On paper, we do, but it's been defunct.
Oh.
For a few years.
I
For a little
thought
while,
I
yes.
knew
Yeah.
the,
We need more activity, and we're going to try to pull that back together.
Because
Yeah.
as I mentioned early on, I did grow up in South Dartmouth, and that was another reason why I felt that it was important for me to go down and try to help David, because when I was door knocking, I'm familiar with Fall River, having grown up so close, and I was closer to New Bedford, but those are old mill towns
Right.
that did have prosperity
Right.
at one point in time.
Right.
And it's very sad to see these cities become what they've become, both New Bedford and Fall River. And they're right there in a beautiful spot on the ocean.
Yes.
And,
And some
I know
parts of
that
them are still
David's hopes
beautiful.
were to bring back prosperity and jobs to the area, because he does remember when the mills were up and functioning down there in both of those cities. And so that was one of the reasons why I felt that I could door knock. I also went to Catholic schools in New Bedford, and I happened to go to the Catholic school that was the Portuguese parish,
So,
St. John the Baptist. And we were door knocking on a lot of Portuguese homes.
so Patricia, would
And
you
the names were not unfamiliar to me, so.
would you say that one of your goals as a state committee woman would be to help David organize a Republican group down there in Fall River?
Well, certainly, but his
She would
state-
from afar, because we
Yes,
have two
two
excellent state
state
committee
committee
people
people
down our
that-
way that are working on it with us.
Yes.
Okay.
That would be Tim Sullivan and Becky Levesque, one of my
Right,
campaign managers.
absolutely.
And she's in an excellent position, it sounds like, because she's already in touch with a lot of local people from your campaign.
We have,
Yes.
and by campaigning and knocking on doors, we got to meet some of the Republicans that are listed on the voting sheets, but just really haven't been feeling the need to be involved because they didn't think there was a purpose or much effort down in our
Here's
our
a
district.
little story about that. Howard Bevo from the Attleboro Republican City Committee. I called into him when we were phone calling back in the days of Scott Brown campaigns, right? And he was saying, you know, I really would like to get involved, but I just haven't been for years and years, and I don't know. I'm saying, please, just come out, get involved. We need you. And what do you know?
He's chair now.
Yeah, he's chair.
Of the Attleboro Republican City Committee.
Yes.
So,
Sherry, one issue we should talk about, though, we've talked about young people, and we've talked about initiative petitions, and we've talked about some of the cities and how we need to help bring jobs and revitalize them. One thing that all goes together in that is the tech tax that the legislature just passed. And
yes.
that's what
Will
I
someone
think.
explain that really quickly for the layperson?
I think it's very hard because even the people in that business don't exactly know how they're supposed to collect the tax, where they're supposed to send the tax. It's very hard.
Although the governor, Deval Patrick, the Democrat, is backing away from that. He publicly
he
came
is.
out yesterday and said that he thinks that we might have jumped the gun on that one a little bit. But I can't explain it myself
No.
because I'm not in the tech industry.
And
David's
as I
probably very good.
understand, the Senate
But
president is not backing
You do
away
realize
from
that
it.
so much of our industry here in Massachusetts is tech-oriented.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
David down in Fall
How do you
River, they have
quantify it? I guess that's
a
the
tech
problem, isn't it?
industrial park down
Right,
there.
a biotech industrial park, pre-permitted park that is basically empty right now. We just had Amazon.com come into that area with Fall River on the short list, blow right by us because the tax passed just days before Amazon.com was to come down and start really beginning their talks. That took 1,000 jobs and just wiped them right out. All right, this tech tax, just to let you know, makes us one of 5 states in the entire country that have a tech tax. And even the other states, the other 4 states that do, for instance, Connecticut, has a 1% tech tax on software only. Massachusetts has 6.25 on both aspects, I believe the service and the software associated with technology.
Wow.
That's availing
Now
it's
is-
opening up our companies, our very secure and profitable
Isn't that on
technology
top
companies.
of the sales tax?
Exactly. But it's
So
ma-
that's essentially like a 12% tax.
Well, it's an area that hadn't been taxed previously. It's just basically looking at a service. Now, what are they going to start at? Are they going to start taxing dental service
But
or
the
taxing
software is
other-
already taxed,
Yeah, so
isn't it?
so in other words, it'd be say you hired someone to install software in a computer.
Okay.
You pay a sales tax right now on the software that you
Right.
purchase, but you
But
don't
not
pay a
the
sales tax
installation.
on the service fee to have someone install that software. So that's
Okay.
where that tech
Or the
tax
service to support it.
Okay.
would.
And now they're going to start taxing those issues. And
That's
How
right.
do you quantify that? Is that the problem when you call up someone to have them service you? Let's say you call up a call center and have them give you instructions. How do you quantify
if you're
what that
asking-
call costs?
If you're
to
asking
tax
because
it?
it's just very confusing, let me tell you that while I was on the radio during this campaign, a software company called up with absolute frustration because they called the Department of Revenue. The Department of Revenue had the arduous task of implementing this tax. The legislators just said, let's pass it, no debate, give it to the DOR. The DOR tried to implement it. When the company called up, the DOR said, we can't answer your questions, just tax them and make sure we have a check. Basically, they're telling them, send the money in, just
Throw
tax
mud
what you
at
think.
the wall and
Exactly.
see if it sticks.
Exactly. Haven't we heard this before? Let's pass it and then figure out what's in it.
Let's
Oh,
read,
yeah, the
read the bill after we
healthcare.
pass it.
Yes.
That's
Healthcare.
right.
That's
Okay.
Obamacare,
That's
sure.
right.
We
And
are the most expensive of the 5 states, and the worst implemented, And it's already causing our safe technology companies to be solicited by other states. Governors from other states are already calling the companies up on the 128 Beltway.
And it's probably one of the more higher percentages of our industries in this state, too.
Yeah.
Oh, it is.
That's right.
Yes.
Two very good points. David's exactly right. I happen to know that there are a number of states actively soliciting our high-tech companies to move to their states. And they already have several advantages with lower costs of living, lower tax. They already
Yes.
have advantages over this, over
Less red
Massachusetts.
tape.
This is one more. And one other important point, Patricia's right. The governor is backing off on some of this now because we run the risk of losing so many jobs. But what he's not backing off is the desire for the revenue. He says, perhaps we'll reconsider this tax, but we need to replace it with another tax. We need to replace that revenue.
Look at
So
tax attorneys.
he don't.
Well, you know,
They
they would
may not have
never.
considered
no,
that yet.
Oh, they would never do that because most of them are attorneys.
That's why
It'll
we need
never
a dentist up there.
But that's
We
an
gotta
important point.
we gotta do a root canal,
But the
David.
dentist with a business administration degree.
That's right. That's right.
That's right. But that is an important point. They may back off on this tax, but they're
They're
not giving
looking
up,
for
looking for
something
revenue.
else. So all you tradespeople, whatever trade you may be in, watch out.
That's right.
Okay, guys, we have 10 minutes to wrap up. We'd like to leave you with something thought-provoking. Where do we go from here? What's our next attack in the state Republican Party? Where do we go from here?
Well, we got 2014.
You do?
And so in 2014, we have a governor's race, and we hopefully have more state rep races and potentially state senate races. And so anybody that's interested in running as a Republican, contact one of us. Ask David how it goes.
Let's make the charge. Let's lead the way on making Massachusetts affordable and attractive for other businesses, okay? And so let's not let any other party or any other group try to hoodwink that. That's been our battle cry for a while now. That was our campaign mantra. Let's do that all across the state. Charlie Baker's taking that same thing up. As a matter of fact, we were speaking briefly this morning. Let's make Massachusetts affordable, make government accountable, and make it attractive so that other businesses will come back to this state.
The most effective
Okay.
welfare is a job, right?
That's right. I have 4 children. I want them to grow up here. I
That's
don't
right.
want them
Not
to have to. I don't
move.
want them to have to go to Virginia or Texas or Florida or wherever it is to get a job. I want
lower
them
tax
to be
state.
able to grow up and raise their families here. And that's not going to happen if we don't do something with the economy, make Massachusetts more liberal. You know, I think.
Less liberal.
Thank you, Patricia. I think the Republican message of limited. I think the Republican message of limited
It'd be difficult
government
to make it more liberal.
and more affordable government is something we can all get behind. And I really think.
True.
I think the younger people are coming around to that type of thinking. I really do.
Oh, when they go out to get a job and there are none, and they have
And
all
there
these
are none.
college debts to pay off. And
That's right.
And the states that are growing the fastest are the states that have the least regulations and the least taxes. And yeah, okay. So we have a work cut out for us, but as a party together, moving forward, we can do it.
I can't imagine a more exciting time. Look at our cities right now. Fall River with the 3rd highest unemployment in the entire state, behind Lawrence, I believe, and I'm not sure of the other city that falls into that, but all of the gateway cities are actually reeling with high unemployment, high dropout rates, high crime, busted up neighborhoods, and yet those were the cities that brought us through world wars, that brought industry, that built the pots and pans up here in Taunton, the knives and forks, all the silverware, Brockton, the shoes, Fall River, the cotton and linen for uniforms, for clothes. They were the cities that actually clothed, fed, and protected our people
right.
for
Yes.
decades.
Yes, you're absolutely right.
We need to bring them back. They're empty. They need the industry. It's exciting to think that if we play our cards right, we could help lead the way to getting those industries back and revitalizing those very same cities.
Excellent words to close on.
That's right.
Next guest is Ray Isler.
Ray Isler, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Next time, we'll have Ray Isler from the Tea Party to tell us his ideas on how to make Massachusetts less liberal. Okay. Thank you so much for joining us.
We have 5 minutes.
Did we talk about Patty's swim? You probably did at the
No.
beginning.
No,
didn't
we
you?
didn't. I think
Oh,
that's
my
a great
goodness.
place to go.
That's
Patty,
right.
tell us what you've done with your swimming. And then, Mark, I'd like to hear what you do in your spare time, besides run up and down and knock on doors and hang things.
Oh, true to Republicans, she's probably not very good at self-promoting. But I'll tell you, Patty's out there
She's
swimming.
promoting you.
No, she's good at doing that, but self-promoting is tough on us. She's been out there swimming for Dana-Farber. She's a long-distance swimmer, which is why she stays in such
I
great
think
shape.
she's a champion, too. I don't think it's
is.
just long-distance swimming. Patty, will you tell us what your...
This is embarrassing, but
No, it isn't.
I've swum all my life. It's just one of those things. We all have something that we're good at, and swimming happens to be one of the things that I'm very good at. I started swimming as a kid, swam through high school competitively, did Providence College did not have a pool at the time. They put it in the summer. I got out. But that's okay. I had a difficult major in college. I majored in accounting, so it was probably best that I wasn't distracted by swimming. But I took it up again when I got out of school. And about 7 or 8 years ago, you can do master's swimming. So anybody 19 and over that still wants to swim and compete, you can do that. So I swim on a team at the North Attleboro Y, and I swim regularly on my own. And I go to New England Championships and do well there and qualify for nationals. So
Didn't you swim in nationals?
I did. I've swum nationally a few times now.
That's great.
I swam this year and I was 4th in the country in my age bracket
Congratulations.
in the mile, which is the
That is
1650.
amazing.
Yes.
Sure is.
That's
So-
what gives you the energy to keep going and going and going.
Yes, I
That's
have a
right.
lot of stamina. But I just did a swim for Dana-Farber, and David was very nice. He and his family were a contributor to that. My brother has brain cancer at the moment, but I started this about 6 years ago when my best friend contracted colon cancer and wanted to take my sport and do something positive. So there is a swim. It's called Swim Across America, swimacrossamerica.org. You can still
Thank
donate,
you.
even though the swim was in July.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, Mark, really quickly, what do you do?
Well, we do a lot.